Good morning, good morning, good morning. Bix Weir, roadrunner.com with your morning horn of Z's. Your sip of coffee. My camera's not working for some reason. So, you don't get to see my lovely face. um, it's all happening right now as we speak. It has been going on. I've been talking about this for a while. This is a process. It takes a while. Um, but we are in the middle of it. And it might seem crazy to you, but this was all planned. And now we have the monstrous revelation, something we all knew. JPMorgan's role in metal spoofing is under U.S. criminal probe. Now, we've known since 2018 when they busted the first JPMorgan trader, and now 6 have been indicted by the Department of Justice. No, the overseer of commodities, the CFTC, did not do anything in this role. Their job is not to regulate commodities, but to run cover for the manipulation of commodities. We all know that. If you've been following the road to Ruta, you know that. All right. I have been saying all along there are good guys behind the scenes trying to take out the bad guys. They have more power. At some point, they will use that power. This is part of that process. I've been saying that since 2007 when I found the Road to Ruta comic books and deciphered what it was saying. That there are good guys taking out the bad guys. This is long before Q. If you've been on the road to Ruta for that long, God help you. But this is another great step. And everybody was saying, well, why is the DOJ indicting 6 JP Morgan traders, but not telling the world what bank they are dealing with? What bank all of them worked for? They kept saying Bank A, Bank A, Bank A. Well, yesterday we had the first leak that Bank A is JP Morgan, and not only are there 6 traders up on RICO charges, that JP Morgan is being investigated, the world's largest derivative holder, for its role in spoofing. It's not just spoofing. That's the thing that's ridiculous. It's total market manipulation, not just spoofing. Anyway, this out of Bloomberg. Investigation said to move to bank parents after traders plead. 2 of them pleaded guilty. Precious metal desk was racketeering operation, the U.S. has said. U.S. authorities that accused J.P. Morgan Chase employees of rigging precious metals futures are building a criminal case against the bank itself. What do you mean building? How easy is it? Just look at all the penalties and fines that J.P. Morgan has paid to get out of their criminal operations for the last 20 years. It's over $45 billion. Over $45 billion. That number was adjusted. There's a website, I've got a link to it somewhere, that shows each case. But recently some guys did an even deeper dive, and that one says 35, but there's actually 45. If you count all the fines and penalties that JP Morgan has paid for illegal activity. It's not hard to prove illegal activity. All you got to do is go back to the Bernie Madoff case. JP Morgan was the only banker, profited the most out of all the banking institutions from the Bernie Madoff, and they were involved intimately with the con. And it wasn't 50 billion, it wasn't 60 billion, it was 500 billion. 500 billion, and it was all done with computers and derivatives on the first floor of the Bernie Madoff offices. It was a computer trading desk. This is all linked to the NSA, the Mossad, the deep state, all the bad guys. Anyway, the previously unreported investigation of the global bank's parent company, part of a wide-ranging federal clampdown on market manipulation, raises the prospect of criminal charges and significant fines against America's largest bank. I want to show you something. Let's look at the price of silver. Right in here, June of 2019 is when the good guys started to attack the banking criminals at JP Morgan. They were buying. They're still buying. It's not a one-time deal. This is not going to go down like September 11th of 2018, 2008, which proved it wasn't enough to tank down the banking cabal. They got a $700 billion bailout. This has been going on since June, and if you look at the price of silver, when did it correct, shall we say? It was hitting over $19. The banks were losing $1 billion a day. Bam, slam down on September 11th. Again, September 11th. That was the date I called. I think it's about a year in advance. September 11th, 2019. That's when you had the repo crisis. That's when you had blatant open market battle between JPMorgan and the good guys within the United States trying to take down the bad guys. And that's where we are now. Slam, it went down. The obvious thing here is who ran the trading department at JPMorgan and who did this person report to? Blythe Masters, the Wicked Witch of Silver, ran the department, and she reported directly to Jamie Dimon and the board. So they are all being investigated. And I mean, as soon as the first JPMorgan commodity trader got busted by the DOJ, Blythe Masters instantly disappeared from her crypto trading company. The company was supposed to be built to take over the obfuscation of spoofing of rehypothecation of asset that goes on at the DTCC. That was their big plan, to create their own blockchain and then have all assets run on that blockchain, but control the blockchain so you can change it and you can do the same thing. It just hides it better. And that's when Blythe Masters was taken down. I've talked a lot about Blythe Masters. I've been talking about Blythe Masters since before Bitcoin. I've been talking about computer market manipulation since the early 2000s. I used to give speeches at the Silver Summit when they allowed me to speak. And I said they're all crazy. Look at the volumes. Look at the market manipulation. I exposed Virtu Financial. Back then it was called EWT LLC as the number one market rigger for the bad guys. They are still the number one market rigger in the crypto space, running the official manipulation. And of course, the CFTC does their part, as we heard from Chris Giancarlo, the head of the CFTC, that decided to pop the Bitcoin bubble and allow derivatives in Bitcoin to be traded, which took down everything. And it wasn't just that. They also teamed up with the Mt. Gox trustee. It's so obvious when you stand back and look at it. And all markets are rigged today. It is how America continues to function after they went off the gold standard. They really went off it in, 1934, when they confiscated gold and created the Exchange Stabilization Fund to rig every market. It gave the legal ability for the United States, the official United States rigging of all markets, and that's where we are today. So when you see crazy stuff like this, just a sloppy record keeping, the Pentagon has a $35 trillion accounting black hole for 2019. Catherine Austin Fitts, you better do your homework better, young lady. Catherine's found 21 trillion that the Pentagon has been hiding over. I think it was 10 years or something, a long time. Now they're saying there's 35 trillion just in 2019. And 2008, or just in, 2019. So 2019 is 35 trillion, 2018, 30.7 trillion, 2017, 29 trillion. What's a trillion amongst friends? I've been saying it all along. There's unlimited market money printing in behind the scenes. But the fact that this comes out now is perfect timing. This is the end game. At some point, the computer trading models are going to crash against each other. Everything's going to freeze up. So a little more on the JPMorgan. Now remember, myself, many other people, Ted Butler, the Gatta Boys, Chris Powell, Bill Murphy, and everybody been screaming to the CFTC about manipulation. 3 investigations, they couldn't find anything, which is ridiculous. It took the DOJ to come in, the good guys behind the scenes, to shut down the criminal cover-up by the CFTC. All this to keep this fraudulent market called capitalism going. It's not called capitalism. This isn't even close to what capitalism should be. But that's what we have, total market manipulation. Chris Powell of Gatta said years back, there are no more markets, just manipulation. He was 100% right. I don't think he understood the full extent of it. 100% control over, at least ever since the introduction of computer trading models by Alan Greenspan in the early 1970s. implemented through the Federal Reserve System through his mentor, a guy named Arthur Burns, who wanted to go back onto the gold standard. And then what happened 2 months after Alan Greenspan got into office as head of the Fed? Boom, computer market manipulated crash of the 1987 crash of the stock market. It is all part of the game, my friends, and it just keeps chugging along. So Zero Hedge's take is U.S. launches criminal probe into JPMorgan for gold price manipulation. They left out silver. I don't know why. Silver is massively more manipulated than gold. There was a time when even the merest mention of gold manipulation in the reputable media was enough to have one branded a perpetual conspiracy theorist with a tinfoil farm out back and immediately banned from social media. I was there. I was the one. Me and my friends at Gatto were screaming about it, and there's, oh, you're all tinfoil hats. And then Jeffrey Kirsten would come on and say, that's a bunch of crazy people. And now it is proven to be absolutely 100% true. Does it feel good? Yeah, not really. It's one of those things, yeah, you were right, but it's 10 years later. They should have shut him down day one. The evidence was overwhelming. That roughly coincided with a time when LIBOR, FX mortgage, bond market manipulation was also considered unthinkable, when high-frequency traders were believed to be providing liquidity, or when the stock market was said not to be manipulated by the Fed, and when the ever-confusing media, always eager to take complicated financial concepts in the face value and set by self-serving establishment, never dared to question anything. Now that has changed. In November 2018, a former JPMorgan precious metals trader admitted he engaged in a 6-year spoofing scheme that defrauded investors in gold, silver, platinum, palladium futures. This guy, John Edmonds, that's the first guy. Remember, November 2018, they take down the first JPMorgan trader. In December 2018, Blythe Masters hits the road, leaves her, and kind of disappears. And then she has popped up again somewhere. It was one of the deep state trading firms. They're going to get her. She's going down. That was followed a year later by the DOJ charging an entire precious metals trading desk at JPMorgan of being deeply involved in what prosecutors described as, quote, massive multi-year scheme to manipulate the market for precious metals, futures contracts, and defraud participants, including Michael Nowak, a JPMorgan veteran and former head of the precious metals trading desk, and Greg Smith. We've talked about these guys. And Zero Hedge says, Blythe Masters was somehow omitted. I don't know. I think they're saving the best for last. Jamie Dimon, Blythe Masters, and the entire JPMorgan board at the time. Here's where it gets extra interesting. According to Bloomberg, the unusually aggressive language embraced by prosecutors reminds legal experts of indictments utilizing the RICO Act, a law of allowing prosecutors to take down the criminal enterprise like the mafia. Now, the RICO Act adds 3 times the penalty, the stolen amount. So if you steal 1 billion ounces worth of silver, like JPMorgan has done, you're going to have to pay back 3 billion ounces. Who are they going to give it to? Hopefully, the GATA guys. I don't know. Everybody help. How about the whole population? Let's just give everybody some ounces of silver in the U.S. And then other countries are going to sue. This opens the door for massive lawsuits against JPMorgan Chase by individuals. And this is good because JPMorgan Chase is the criminal bank. Now, they are also saying that there's somebody else. There's another entity that the DOJ is investigating, the opposite end of the trade. Now, that could be Deutsche Bank, but it also probably more likely would be Citibank. Now, if you look at the OCC data for who has all the derivatives and precious metals, JPMorgan blows everybody away, but second, about half as much, is Citibank. And we all know that criminal organization. So yeah, you take down those and voila, you got potential for freely traded silver. Of course, this has been going on for years. They've known about this for decades. They have participated. They were involved 100%, at least the bad guys. Now, when the Fed comes and says, and Treasury comes to you and says, hey, can you rig this market for this purpose? They do it, and then they continue to do it. That's a problem. And that's what Bart Chilton had pointed out, that when the Bear Stearns bailout, it was a bailout, when JPMorgan took over Bear Stearns, they came with this gigantic short position. That's the silver hot potato. In silver, probably in gold too. That's when they said, okay, JPMorgan, you take over this crazy derivative short book in silver, and then they give him, I think it was a $30 billion guarantee, federal guarantee, but you're not allowed to go over this amount of position for the position limits, and they did for a long time, and that's what Bart Chilton said before he passed away. All right. So more than 11 years after the farce began, this previously unreported investigation of the global bank's parent company, part of a wide-ranging federal clampdown on market manipulation, raises the prospect of criminal charges and significant fines against America's largest bank. Additionally, this is important. It's always the footnote. Bloomberg notes that according to a third person familiar with the matter, authorities are conducting a similar racketeering investigation of a second financial firm involving spoofing. It's not just spoofing. Oh my God, there's so much more than spoofing going on. And all of this is occurring as more and more investors realize the value of gold as a hedge against the idiocy of politicians and policymakers. In other words, just as manipulating precious metals prices lower would be at its most use to the banking elites. The last line I love. Conspiracy theory becomes conspiracy fact. And we wonder whether any of this would be public had Twitter's newly minted, quote, censor anything we don't like policies been in place. It's not just Twitter, it's YouTube. Had all the conspiracy theories of silver manipulation and gold manipulation videos been able to be widely spread, how fast would have ended long ago? But the censorship obviously continues on the road to Ruta. Really interesting stuff, huh? Of course, what did the price of silver do? Nothing. It's just sitting around there. It won't be till after $20 is hit that you see the real bloodletting of these criminal banksters. So hang on tight. It's still official manipulation. So they're investigating. They bust 6 traders at JPMorgan. They've been investigating it, and now they're leaking the investigation, which means it's ready to come to a close, I would say in the next month or two. And number 3, they're still allowing JPMorgan to be the largest influential trader in the price of silver, allowing them to be the custodian of SLV, allowing them to have the largest silver warehouse on the COMEX approved warehouses, allowing them to trade every day in the silver market. Why? Because they know they take down JPMorgan, they take down everything. This investigation is not to take down JPMorgan. It's to blame them for the aftermath of the crash, which is coming very fast. And this is great news as far as timing. I noticed this came out right after Trump got, get out of jail free card. All this is happening. We'll see what happens. And then in the meantime, Earth is about to enter a 30-year mini ice age as the sun hibernates, scientists warn. Yes, of course we're headed into a mini ice age. Cliff High's been talking about that for a long time. What happened to Greta's, oh my God, global warming. Every couple of years is a new thing. The next thing will be, oh my God, it's a mini ice age. But it looks like we are. Greta yelling about, oh, we got to green the planet. We have to stop using fossil fuels because the atmosphere is heating up. Where's Al Gore on this front? Looks like we have to heat up the atmosphere more because we're going to have a 30-year mini ice age. It's all insane. That's part of the game. And if you're in cryptos, yeah, good place to be. Keep hanging on. But these markets are rigged too, just like the silver markets. And the official rigging is done out of the U.S. Treasury with the CFTC and companies like Virtu Financial, the high-frequency trading companies who rig all markets. And they are given the green light. As a matter of fact, Donald Trump wanted to put the head of Virtu Financial, a guy named Vincent Viola, as head of the Navy, believe it or not. It's insane. It's insane, but that's the world we live in. This is Bix Weir. roadtorear.com. Talk to you later.
It's time to have a little fun with our friends on the comics. This song goes out to that big old gigantic naked short out there. You know who you are. It's kind of lonely at the top, ain't it? I thought I heard the people say, pay me my silver now. Tomorrow's another trading day. But pay me my silver now. Watching the comics prices rise. Pay me my silver now. JPMorgan naked shows the highs. Pay me my silver now. Pay me, pay me, pay me my silver now. Pay me or go to jail. Pay me my silver now. CFTC, you better shut it down. Pay me my silver now. There's people rising up in every town. Pay me my silver now. The Gatta boys are in the know. Pay me my silver now. Tinfoil hats at the silver show. Pay me my silver now. Pay me, pay me, pay me my silver now. Pay me or go to jail. Pay me my silver now. Butler nails you every time you try. Pay me my silver now. The BPS shows how much you lie. Pay me my silver now. The game is done when the silver's gone. Pay me my silver now. Comex metal in the warehouse, none. Pay me my silver now. Pay me, pay me, pay me my silver now. Pay me or go to jail. Pay me my silver now. The banking boys melt that witch. Pay me my silver now. Deliver those bars and melt that bitch. Pay me my silver now. Pay me, pay me, pay me my silver now. Pay me or go to jail. Pay me my silver now. 'Cause now is the time to free our land. Pay me my silver now. Silver in my pocket, paper in the can. Pay me my silver now. Pay me, pay me, pay me my silver now. Pay me or go to jail. Pay me my silver now. Pay me, pay me, pay me my silver now. Pay me or go to jail. Pay me my silver now.